All right, you should see something that says it says the meeting is started. I'm going to share my screen. And let me know when you got it. It's just my little guy from last week. Whoa, what the heck is doing all the way up here? Yeah, there's a little bed up here. Get rid of that guy. All right, can everyone see my screen? Cool. All right, so first things first, like I said, I want to go to Canvas. So I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to log into Canvas. And I haven't logged in today on my virtual machine, so give me a second. Oh. All right. So I'm going to go into the module for this class. If we go to the very bottom, okay, we've downloaded a lot of these, okay, but I don't see that we have the section block on here. So let's go ahead. I thought this was here, but let's see why it's not. Let's see. Just seeing if it had one already here. I thought this was all in here. Sofa blocks. North elevation. Here, let's see. It might be under C. Right here. Bingo. And we'll just add item. I know it's from last year. Let's just do... I'll do the 2025 one. Okay, so I just added that. It should be published already. I believe this one's already scaled, but if it's not, we'll do it together. So I want to go ahead and open up. Again, you might need to refresh your Canvas so you can get this file. But it's this construction 241, and I can rename it if you guys really care. Okay, there we go. We got construction spring 241 spring 2026 section. So I want to open up this or click on it, right? It's going to open on a new screen. All right. It looks like James is coming back in on another computer. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click this download construction 241 spring. And again, it's still called that. Whatever. I don't care. Okay. And then I'm just going to double click on it and it will open up. So give me a thumbs up when you've got this section head opened. All right, I'll give it another 30 seconds or so. Again, we're going to our canvas. We're going to our modules at the very bottom. There now is this construction 241 section. You click on it, you can download. Again, it's a 2025. I didn't rename it, whatever. We can download that section and open it up, and we should get it something like this. All right, so first things first, I'm just going to see what the scale is on this, see if this works the way that I want it to. So if I hit Control-C, right, just like we did before, or Option-C, right, if you're on a Mac, and I'm going to come in here and hit Option-V. And look at that. Wonderful. Woohoo! So we don't even need to do any scaling. The other section head I had 2 years ago, I think, needed to get scaled. We scaled it and saved it, so that's why you've got this. So this is pretty cool. Okay, this is a section head that will allow you to show a section, or not a, it shows you a section and you can show it in a multitude of different ways. So if I rotate this real quick, specify the base point, and let's just go ahead and I'll rotate it 90. And I move this. And I can click on it and I should be able to lengthen it. We now see a section head with a section line facing this direction. So what we're going to do with this is we want to have 4 sections on all 4 sides of our building. And what happens is when these are put onto sheets, they'll actually come here into the call out. So if I come down here and go to view number and type in view number 1 on sheet A101, and I know it's sideways. Let's see if I can get this to rotate real quick. I don't know that this text rotates like this. So that's just the toggle. So this will toggle the flag on and off. Which is the flag should be this tail end. Okay. You can also toggle on and off. You can also change the flip direction. So if I want this to flip a certain direction, either left or right, and then rotation point, if you wanted something at maybe you wanted a angular, right? We could do some type of an angular section. So I don't know why this won't change. Arrow direction left, text row. I wonder if there's a text rotation on here at all. Oh, symbol rotation, but I think that's just gonna, if I go 90, I think that's just gonna, yeah, that's just gonna rotate the head. So if it's sideways like that, not a problem. I can read, okay? So, but when we go to build our sheets, and we're gonna build sheets next week, okay? So when we go to build our sheets next week and we start making our views, okay, this section head will actually reference a specific view on our sheet. So I can make reference, I can see this and say, hey, this is section 1. And maybe this is, maybe you've got a floor plan view that's, your architectural A101 sheet. Maybe all your section views live on A102. Let's see if I've got text options here. Justification, backwards, rotation, layers. Yeah, you can do that. I don't know. Yeah, we just want top center. I don't know that there's a way in this one. So we can do that. The problem is I can't rotate the call out line. So we can leave it like that, not a problem. Okay, so I want to go ahead and on your final project, let's just go ahead and name these all on sheet A102. So I'm going to build a detail 1. I'm going to come over here. Now I can use this that I've already created. And I can just use my copy command. And I could copy it straight down here. I could copy it to the left and I could copy it to the right. So in one move or in one command, I've already placed all of these sections. Okay, and in this project, these sections are just more diagrammatical. They're not actually a live section like we have in Revit. So if any of you have taken my Revit class, you'll notice when we take a section, it's actually cutting a section of the building. This is just kind of faking it, but it allows you to show where that section is being cut. So I'm going to rotate this guy.
Are we drawing out that section that we cut?
Do what?
Are we going to have to draw out that section that we cut?
You are going to draw it. So you're going to draw an exterior elevation, just like we did in class 7. Okay, so we need an exterior elevation for all 4 walls. And that's what this is going to represent. So if I toggle this guy back to the other direction, so now it's facing there. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and rotate. Again, we want all of our flags or our arrows facing towards the building. Oh, do I have something else selected? Why did I grab that? All right, and now we should have something. Now this one, maybe it looks like it made my text go upside down. I'm actually going to rotate this one 180. Make the text go the right direction. Again, we want the detail number on the top and the sheet number on the bottom. Okay, and then instead of rotating it, right, because it put it upside down, I can now just use my flip direction and flip that arrow so it's facing the right direction. And we can bring them in, size them all appropriately. Move this guy. Oh, why is that the one still selected? Move this one just a hair. And I want to make sure that I capture the entire deck on it. So I'm going to make sure that this goes all the way to here. And my tail is long enough to cover this bay window as well. And we should have something that looks like that. Once we've got that set up, I want you to go ahead and make this detail 1. This one. You can click into it, and on the left-hand side, you can get to this 2 ways. You can double click right here on the text, and it'll pop up the text editor. You can also just go ahead and click on the section, and it's over here in your properties under the attributes section, and we can renumber this 2. So I'm going to number that one 2. I'm going to number this one 3. And then last but not least, I will number this one 4. So it's pretty easy. Again, all this is doing is showing me where you're taking your cut for your outside elevations. And then it's referencing the detail numbers. So if I go to the sheet 1 or go to the sheet A102 and I go to reference 3 on it, I know exactly where I'm looking, right? Because this section head calls out that this is detail 3 on sheet A102. Any questions about section heads and just the annotation portion of the section head? All right. So what I want to do at this point is I want to start looking at how to make these views. So I'm actually going to open up my week 7, and I'm actually going to probably just do this. So I'm going to copy all of these. Again, if you're in your final project, you don't need to do this. I want to go to something real quick with some elevation views on it so I can show you how this all lays out. So I'm going to copy this, open up my week 7. Not in that one. I think it's under documents, so I don't know what it is. Here. Oh, wrong folder. Let's go to spring, week 7. Okay, so I'm going to open this one up real quick. And real quick, I'm just going to paste. And look at that. That's pretty sweet. I'm just pasting these in here. It's actually about the same size of a building. So when I pasted these in, it actually kind of represents something. So now we've got a few options. Typically, I like to organize. So once I've got all of my elevations built, right, in my, using my story poll, doing that whole exercise, I like to then organize them together. So I'm going to actually take this whole thing and move it somewhere to the right. And I'm actually going to put it right here. And just because I want to, I'm going to go ahead and go to text. I'm going to put in some 6-inch text. And just underneath this drawing, I'm going to type in north elevation. And actually, I should do this before I'll type in detail 1 hyphen north elevation. And I could go ahead and center that if I wanted to, something like that. And it looks like this is still in 4-inch, so I'm going to make it 6 and make it really standard. So pretty easy. Okay, the next one I want to do is I want to use this side, and I want to move this guy over. So I'm going to move him, and I'm just going to put it somewhere about the same. I could get really specific, okay, and worry about, is this perfectly aligned? Get it close. I'm not worried right now, okay? And I'm going to use this. Again, if we've made something, might as well use it again. Copy it, paste it over here. And I'm going to call this detail 2 east elevation. Okay, so I've got 2 of the 4 elevations moved over. I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. Put it roughly right here. And yes, you could get super, perfect about aligning it. If you want to do that, absolutely go for it. That's, the right move. I'm getting things close, and I don't really care if things are a 1/16 of an inch off in this class. Detail 3, south elevation. And then last but not least, I'll do my detail 4 west elevation. All right, if you wanted to get them aligned, you could move this to here, right? And then you could grab it again if you wanted to and move it over, or you could draw a detail line out there originally, right? I could draw a little line from this corner, right, to here. I could draw a line from this corner down to here, right? So if you wanted to get super anal about getting it aligned, you absolutely can. So copy this, and I'll copy using, or actually I'll move it using this bottom left base point, and I'll put it right at that intersection. And now it's in perfect alignment. So if you want to align things perfectly, you absolutely can. If you want to get things close, that's fine too. And then last but not least, we need to go ahead and give this a detail number. All right, so I'm going to copy this one over. And call this detail 4. West elevation. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes, 2 minutes or so. Give me a thumbs up when you've got all 4 of those exterior walls. If you don't have them in your view yet, that's fine. What I want you to do is at least go ahead and put in some text for your detail 1, detail 2, maybe put a little, maybe just draw if you need something, right, just go ahead and draw a box that's like 10 feet tall by, 40 feet long, something that will represent some space. So if you need to do that and you don't have your walls yet, that's fine. Okay, but I want to start showing you how to put a sheet together. So give me a thumbs up when you've got at least the text context portion of this, as well as, if you've got your exterior wall moved over, great. If you need to just put a dummy placeholder rectangle in there, that's fine too. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on to the next part. At 3, 4, party. Woo! All right. So AutoCAD works in a way that you create sheets and you create viewports. So I want everyone to go down to this architectural D, and you'll notice that we have a template, a title block here. Okay, so this is just out of the box title block. Nothing fancy, but it will work for this class. Okay. What I want to do is, instead of just using this arc D, I want to click this plus button here. So new layout. I'm sorry. Hold up. Let's do this. Let's delete. I want to right click and I want to click move or copy. Okay, so that's what I want to do. I don't want to click this plus button. I want to click move or copy. And I want to create a copy and move it to the end. We're just going to leave this arc D here alone. It'll be there if you mess up and you need to create a duplicate of it again, but we're not going to use it for our sheets. So I'm going to go ahead, create a copy and move to the end. And you'll now see that it's called arc D2. I'm going to go ahead and right click and rename. And I'm going to call this A101. Now you'll notice that it put that that number in this tab, but it didn't do anything else to the title block. So we need to come here, click into this title block. You can click on it once. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to see some attributes you can edit. You can also double click on the pound button and you'll see this enhanced attribute editor pop up and we can put in some information. So sheet number, we want it to be A101. And it looks like there may be a second copy here. So I thought this all got deleted, but apparently when it makes a new template, it sometimes does this. So if you clicked on this, I'm going to go back a step. If you click on this once, I want you to actually click on it and delete the one that says the number sign on it. So if you click on this, go ahead and click that number sign. Once that's selected, I want you to hit delete on your keyboard, and it's going to remove a double copy of that title block. So you should be left with something now that just says 00. Now, if you click into this, we could call this A101, or we can just call this A1. I don't care. And if it goes off the sheet a little bit and you don't like it, that's fine. You can rename it whatever you want. So maybe I just want to name this A1. Okay, so I'll take the 101 off it. I'm going to rename this just A1 for architectural 1. So A101, I'm just going to change that to A1. Since I changed it to A1 for this to fit properly, I want to make sure that I update. If I go back to my model space, I want to make sure I update these section heads to reference A1, not or A2 is what we're going to want on here, not A102. So I'm going to change this to A2. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Again, you may be saying, but Graham, we're building sheet A1. Yes, we're building A1. We're going to build A2 in a second. So detail 2 on A2, detail 3 on A2, and last but not least, detail 4 on A2. If you wanted to get tricky, you could click on this, right click, select similar. It'll grab all 4 of those, and you could change this, right? If this said A102 originally, okay, you could do that with one step by having all of these selected. Since they all have individual detail numbers, but they're on the same sheet, we can select them all and change the sheet number altogether. So sheet number A2 and details 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So renumbered that. I'm going to go back to my A101. Remember, I named that A1, so I'm going to rename my sheet and just call it A1. And then you can fill out the rest of this information if you want. Project, right? And I'll just call this Graham's house. Okay, so there it is right there, project name and address. I could go ahead and, put in a value here, 1, 2, 3. Somewhere, first street. Somewhere, USA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then project, name of the project, I'll just put again, Graham's. Okay, so there we go. I got my Graham's house, sheet A1. I've got a project address for it. Okay, if you wanted to build in other things with the firm name and address, you're more than welcome to. I don't really care. I don't know that that's even a field you can enter here, but you can do whatever you'd like to. All right, so we've built this A1 sheet. Awesome. We spent some time. We updated, the title block information so it accurately reflects. Maybe I actually want to change this date here to today's date. Let's see, why can't I change this? It may be, I think this date is locked due to the project, like the date that you started the project. So I don't care what the date is, right? I'll see that it's started sometime this quarter. So now that we've got that one in there, I want to go ahead and build a viewport. So does anyone know what a viewport is? Have you ever heard of the term viewport? All right, so viewport is essentially a portal. Okay, so what it's going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to see our model space on our paper space. So right now we're in paper space, right? You can see that down here it says paper, right? If you click from paper to model space, there's no active viewports, right? I can't swap between them. But in a second, you'll be able to use this paper versus model and activate between model space on your actual title block and your title block. So I want to type in viewports. I want to go ahead and use a single viewport. I want to click OK. Now, and once I click OK, it's going to have me start drawing a square or a rectangle. So I typically like to start at this top left. If I hover my mouse over the radius of this corner, it actually gives me a little center of where that circle would be if it was a full circle. And that's where I want to start my viewpoint. So I'm going to click OK, move my mouse up here. Again, if I hit that circle, right, you see that little plus come down here. That's the center of that radius. I'm going to click once with my left mouse button. Okay, I'm not going to hold anything, just click once. And I'm going to draw down to the bottom right, and I'm going to give it roughly the same amount of gap. Okay, something like that. And when I click again, it's going to activate a viewport that allows us to view into our model. So give me a thumbs up when you've got your viewport activated. So now you'll notice on the left hand or at the bottom here, if and I'm not changing between model tab, right? I'm not going to the model tab. I'm staying on my paper space title block tab. There's two ways to activate this viewport. One, double click inside of the viewport and you'll see a black bold line occur or, go around the outside. If you now zoom, you're actually zooming inside the viewport in the title block. So I'm actually going to zoom in something like this. Okay. And I actually really like that view. And maybe I don't want my grids on, so I'm going to turn those grids off. Perfect. And now that I'm zoomed into something I like, I can go ahead and click this model again, and it will move me back to paper space. Now, if I zoom in and out, I'm actually zooming on the paper versus zooming in the portal or the viewport. So give me a thumbs up when you've got, something shown. Now, if you want to get a little bit tricky, again, I'm going to activate this. If I wanted to zoom into something, like a particular item or an area, I like to use my zoom windows command. So if you type in Z, enter, W, enter, we can click like the top left corner area, then click the bottom right corner area. And once I click this, it's automatically going to zoom straight to that location. So we're halfway there. So any questions before we move on to sheet A2? Okay, so just like A1, okay, and we duplicated this architectural one. Since we've already made all the adjustments, we deleted the extra title block. We've now put a viewport into here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this sheet again. So right click on the A1, move or copy. I'm going to create a copy and move to the end and click OK. And now you'll see an A1-2 here. I'm going to right click, rename, call this A2. And now I can come over here to my title block and call this A2. Everything else we want to leave the same, but we just now have an A2 sheet and an A1 sheet duplicated from each other. All right, what might be the last step that we need to do today? We've already done it once. Anybody awake?
Side views, elevation views.
The elevation views, right, exactly. So earlier we made these section references, right? So if I look at this and I see C1, A2, I should be able to go to detail 1 on sheet A2 and see that view. We've already set that up in this model area by coming over here and setting up all of our elevations grouped together, right? Detail 1, detail 2, detail 3, detail 4, with their corresponding names. So all we have to do now is activate the model space. Again, you can double click into here and double click outside of it to get back to paper. You can also toggle down here between paper and model. Okay, so that'll activate. What I just turned off polar tracking, whatever. Okay, so it'll activate, your viewpoint on your model. So a lot of times I'll like to be in my paper space. And again, you can use that zoom window trick if you want to make it as big as you want. So Z, enter, W, enter. I'm going to click this top left, bottom right. Now that makes that sheet pretty much as big as I can view it. I'm going to activate my paper space or model space, right? So come down here and click the paper or double click inside. And I'm just going to zoom out, come over here, and use my Z, enter, W, enter. Draw a window around what I want to view. And now I've got all of my elevation views on the same sheet. If you go to sheet A1 and we look at this, okay, so this is going to be detail 2 on A2, looking at the east wall, right? I can go to sheet A2, detail 2, there's my east elevation. If you want to, I know that we talked about you didn't need dimensions on your windows left to right, right? When we had it all set up when everything was square, right? And everything was down here, we saw all those window dimensions. If you want to put them in, great. If not, I can reference your sheet 1, okay, for those elevation or for those locations. So next week, we're going to use our section one more time, and we're going to work on building an interior section. So homework this week, I want everyone to get, if you don't get all your elevations done, again, it's just going to put it back farther that you have to start, a little later. I would recommend trying to get them done, but at minimum, okay, I want you to build out your kitchen. Okay, so, and if you look here, why are we not seeing? Oh, it's because my furnishing is in white. So I'm going to change this color real quick. Oh, why am I not seeing that? Let's see. Let's go back. Oh, I don't think I went over the one. Oh, sorry. I haven't put anything in here. That was week 8 that we put the furniture in there. So go ahead, again, make sure that you've got some furniture in your floor plan view. And we're going to build, I want you to build out that kitchen. So at least one wall, I want to have a sink, a stove, maybe a dishwasher, right? A refrigerator, maybe something like that. So when we come in next week, we can build essentially, I'm going to copy this and I will update my kitchen to show the blocks that I want, but we're going to have a section internal here that's going to be facing, I'll just bring this right back to here. That's going to be facing your, whatever your kitchen wall is. And this is going to be detail 1 on sheet A3. So we'll have another sheet. And we're going to have a reference for an interior elevation. So we're going to see a profile view of that countertop and the oven and the your casework, whatever you have in your kitchen, we're going to put it in an elevation view. So before next week, please get your kitchen built out so we can make that elevation view happen. If it's not built out, it's going to be much harder for us to build that elevation view because you don't have a plan view to reference. Any questions? And again, for now, same thing, right? We'll just duplicate this. Call this A3. Rename this A3. And then I will redo the extents, right? I'll zoom out and I'll, zoom in on an area that we detail that. Right, if I had an interior wall, something like this, I would zoom into here and then I would have another detail for my interior wall. So we'll have a page for our floor plan, a page for our exterior elevations, and a page for any interior elevations. Minimum one. If you want to make more, that's awesome. I will give you up to 2 extra credit points. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, for every extra interior section you make. So one point a piece per extra. You're allowed 2. So if you do 3 interior sections, I can give you up to 2 extra credit points. Okay, so that's a 10% bump just by including a couple views. So I highly suggest taking advantage of that. Maybe use it in a bathroom, or maybe use it in a dining room or a bedroom. Whatever it is, we can have an elevation view anywhere we need to. So an interior elevation, right? In addition to our exterior northeast, south, and west. All right, that's what I got for today. Any questions, comments, concerns? Ready for the quarter to be over? Ready for summer? What do you guys got?
Ready for summer.
Yeah, I would be, except it's freaking 86 degrees in this room right now. So, and the summer hasn't started. So. All right, anything else from anybody?
Yeah, hey Graham, when will you post this video?
It'll be posted by 8:30.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, thanks so much, Graham. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Graham.
Have a good
So
night.
just a real quick recap on what's coming up the rest of the semester.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, I saw one person jump, but hold up real quick. So next week, we're going to have a little bit of office hour, or a little bit of time for you to work on your final. Okay, we're going to have some instruction on the internal section and how to create that. That's next week. The following week is the last session of class. Okay, and there will be no instruction. It is a day to show up, turn in your final. If you have questions, you need a little help, I am here for assistance on that day. Okay, so you can come in, just use it like a 2-hour office hours if you want to. But there will be no new content. Come in, there's no attendance taken. Just come and turn in your stuff. If you want me to take a look at it real quick, I'll take a look, give you a few pointers on where you might be able to gain some points back if you're missing something. But it's not going to be a lecture that, everything that you've learned will be completed next week with the internal section. So there will be no new content. So if you don't want to come and you want to turn in your project early, by all means, you're totally welcome to do that. I would suggest still coming, having me take a quick look at it, see if I can give you any pointers to knock you 10 to 20% higher. Yeah, that's the game plan, and then it's summertime. So hopefully you guys have a good summer. And do most of you guys have summer classes, or are you guys off for the summer? Whoa, how'd you make that caterpillar? That's sweet.
You hit the more button, the 3 dots on the side for the reactions, and you can hit whatever emoji you want.
What? Where? Hold up. I don't know that I have. Oh, I don't think I have. Do I not have reactions? I don't know if I have reactions. Because I'm
The boss man. You don't get no fun.
Have ability to do reactions. I can, like, in the chat, like I can put a reaction in the chat or something, but I can't I can't do it there. Cool. Well, awesome. Look at that. Sweet. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to sign off. I will get this video posting as soon as I can. So
All right, thanks so much.
I'll shoot you a quick email or a quick Canvas message letting you know it's posted.
Thank you, Graham. Have a good night.
You too.